Welcome back, beautiful creative soul. I'm so happy that you're here, especially because we've got Sonja Evans back for part 2 of Sacred Union with an Aqua Crystal Heart Reset. I am so excited to find out what that's all about. Welcome to Chakra-Care for the Creative Soul. It's a place where busy light workers like yourself have a chance to really care as much for yourself as you care for the world, by nourishing your sacred self-care. And today, right on the eve of so much energetically happening, I'm so happy and honored to have, like I said, Sonja Evans, who is a getting tongue-tied because I get excited, a multidimensional seer who has been on the ascension path since 1999 here with all of us today. And she's been actively serving as a healer and an oracle since 2013. She uses her natural intuitive gifts, astrology, tarotstrology, and tapping into the quantum fields to support earth angels, starseeds, and lightworkers in releasing consciousness and light body distortions to embody more of their higher codes. Her healing niches include, but are not limited to, healing trauma fields, light body repair, childhood traumas, mapping and collapsing dark systems, and spiritual warfare, and healing gender splitting that manifests as relationship distortions. She also trains lightworkers to tap into their own spiritual genius and activate their mission codes. Her work can be found at Earth Angel Academy 144.org. And Sonja, it's like I said, it's such an honor to have you here today because I've known you for years. You've been my teacher for Infinity Healing, and you're just such a gifted, intuitive and psychic and just seer, multidimensional seer. I think that really encapsulates, in one word or two, I guess, your sacred soul gifts to the world. And we were chatting just before we came on the show live, and I'm excited in this energetically powerful gateway time of the year to know what downloads, have you been receiving any downloads about this time of the year right now?
Mhm. Well, thanks for asking, Polly. Yes, I actually have. And just as we were talking about before the call, I feel like the miracle of divine timing at play here, because I know we kind of moved the dates around about when I would be coming back. But as it turns out, a lot started to come in, especially as we began to approach the new lunar year, the Chinese New Year, going into the year of the wood dragon, because shortly before that, a lot of downloads started to come in, not just for the collective, but just me mapping out things within my own life as we really start to move into that star energy where we experience not just the energies of wish fulfillment, but we also start connecting to our soul blueprint. That star in the sky is the avatar, and within that is the instruction set that we're aligning with to navigate. And for so many of us, and this is, again, why, sort of me reiterating what we talked about last time. Part of this is, for many of us on the ascension path, is preparing to move into what I like to call sacred partnership or even kingdom partnership as part of the template, because these are the rod and staff partners or couplings that are helping to build the new earth. They are part of creation teams. They're part of the spiritual leadership. And many of us are going to be going into or aligning with those timelines, or we're going to find, for those of us who are already in those timelines, the relationships, as far as a lot of the distortions that were making things or keeping things weird, we're going to find a lot of that shifting out. Especially, we were talking about, again, the divine masculine too, especially with the masculine. I just received many downloads that there have been many templates that have been kind of plugging the masculine into these lower personality matrix fields, chakras 1 through 3, instead of like rising up into the heart energy and up into the higher states of connection. So a lot of that is shifting and changing. And with the wood dragon energy that we just passed through that portal yesterday, it just felt so fitting, not just with the subject matter, but we have Valentine's Day coming up. But not that, people on the ascension path connect into the matrix holidays, but we're galactic beings having a human experience, and we're in the world, not necessarily of it. So we do kind of tap into those collective energies when we're all focusing toward the Eros spectrum of love energy. And so the downloads that I have been receiving here are just so powerful, and they're contained within the symbology that's contained both in the wood dragon, which is the element, and the fire, the dragon energy as well, fusing those together to really connect into the universal 8 energies of star and of strength. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about those, just to kind of set the stage for the activation that we're going to be doing today, if you don't mind. Or
Yeah, no, that sounds wonderful, and I love what you just shared there. I mean, it's really there is, and I love what you just shared too about honoring, the energies and being aware of the matrix systems and not plugging into them as much. Like
Mhm.
we're in the world and not of the world.
Yes,
And so and then also what really resonated for me there is that there's still this sort of purging and clearing out of those first three chakras, the sort of safety,
yes,
sex, and power,
yes,
and that there's a big heart emergence that is being called forward this year. And
yes.
so it's just such perfect divine timing that you're here today, and I can't wait to hear more.
Oh, thank you. And I just want to say too that it's not just the masculine in terms of the guy on the couch next to me or the guy that is coming into my life, but it is also I'm going to assume that most of your audience is resonates with being the divine feminine. It's also our masculine energy that's really coming online, because that north node within the lunar nodes is in Aries, so that is a very masculine fire sign, and it is that warrior energy that is being activated in many of us. I mean, not in any like aggressive way, like but just as far as being able to assert ourselves, take action, being able to face our fears with bravery and courage. And this is all contained within the dragon energy as well. So the first download that started to come in was just around the dragon itself and what it symbolizes. And there's deep, more metaphysical emanations, because I find all energies have a spectrum, based on where we're plugged in and where we're able to really decipher those codes. But we go back into the dragon lineages, which delineate directly from the Christ energies. And we're talking about certain grail lines that come in from the heart of the Christos. There's, the Sophia Dragon Collective, the benevolent Queen Dragon Mothers. There's the Dragon Kings. These are higher dimensional. We're talking dimension 13, 12, and even going up into 13, these emanations of Holy Mother, Holy Father. But when we kind of pull it down a little bit closer to 3D a little bit, we have the dragon manifesting the template of being of transformation. We have the energy of strength. We have the energy, even in Chinese cultures, they view the dragon as being a symbol of good luck. And you see the dragons placed, even in the Chinese parades, you see the dragon parading through, and it's that energy of bringing in luck and bringing in that heavenly fire, if you will, those fire codes to ignite them within our fields, within the light body of the earth. And so with this, we also have the strength and the energy. And again, one of the other archetypes from the tarot for 2024 is the strength card in the major arcana. So we're talking about solar energy, a lot of Leo energy. Again, we have that fire, which is giving us the strength to align with our highest timelines and be able to sort of purify and transmute, because that is what fire does. That's what comes forth from the dragon. It also works with that air energy through the wings. And of course, we know that fire needs that air to fuel it. And so this is where we are getting this boost coming in from this energy that is assisting us in aligning our mental body with our spiritual body, with our fire codes, which are those very instruction sets, with our the fire even within the heart, to really start purifying a lot from the old story to move into our new roles. And with that, for many, does come the sacred union aspect. And there's even a lot of wisdom, I feel, and energy that provides more understanding of the potentials here within the element of wood. And, if you think about wood in relationship to fire, it's probably one of the most flammable. I don't know this scientifically, but it's probably one of the most flammable. Whenever someone wants to make a fire, they're looking for wood to toss on there. And so we have the energy of wood. And then what spirit was bringing my attention to was just the very energy of trees, where wood comes from, and as far as trees having that deep anchor. And there is this grounded energy that's coming in. A lot of us have gone through a season of perhaps a lot of spiritual warfare, perhaps a lot of uncertainty. Timelines have been collapsing, so it always creates this little wonky thing. And so we're coming into 2024 really pulling them from that energy, just like the tree, of being grounded and rooted in our truth and what we know is being true for us. And then, also what I was, kind of tuning into, I was actually on one of my famous little nature walks, one of the ones that we didn't do last week so that I could have that. We didn't do the call. But even trees, they're so versatile. They provide so many roles. They provide wood for our fires, furniture, paper, animals live in them. They provide shade, they provide oxygen. And it really, for me, is, also us really kind of tapping into our multidimensional selves. It's tapping into our multifaceted gift set and how to bring that forward, grounding that into physical reality that's really coming in for us. And so with this, coming back to the union piece here, one thing that I was feeling, and I was kind of tuning into who would be listening, who would be drawn to this, is it feels to me that there are many of those who will be attracted to this call and drawn to it, who are on the union timeline, or the door has opened for them to start getting in there. And, with this comes the necessity, if it hasn't happened already, to really start healing deep heart distortions that keep the heart closed. I do know, as somebody, you met me as a twin flame healer, and that was my primary niche. I'm not sure I can't say the word. That was my primary focus at the time. And so many of us went through this, I call it the twin flame crazy go round, where we were getting downloads about somebody, but then when we went to cash the check, there was nothing there, and being ghosted and narcissist and all of this crazy stuff that, depending on how you internalized it, could have closed down the heart with discouragement, what I call the 4Ds, right? We have disappointment, doubt, discouragement, and disillusionment that have closed down the heart, where I share a story because I'm actually having a lot of these divine feminines, whom I call the staff code carriers, who are called into physical Hyros-Gamos union with a matching or a grail line partner. I'm sorry if this is real deep woo-woo, but that's just how we
it's
roll
wonderful.
here.
Please, no, it's not. It's, trust me, we're all about alternative, and expanded ways of being, and
Oh,
so you're in the
wonderful.
right place. You're with Soul
Okay,
Family.
good. Sometimes I have to check because I just don't know. But there is a lot of them, I've met. I work with them in my practice and mentoring, etc. And a lot of them have had, just within the last couple of months, a new man, a new sort of masculine archetype show up, completely vibrating, completely different from the twin flame crazy go round and past relationships, coming in ready to build, wanting to devote, holding that template of devotion. And they're so freaked out by it because they've been so conditioned by, going back into childhood, and in many cases going back even deeper in the timelines, further back or further out, that they don't know what to do with this, and they're afraid of it, and going into these spaces where it's just really triggering parts of them, where they're still holding this energy, and it's still creating blockages around the heart.
And
So,
Sonia, can I, if you don't mind, I'm just
oh,
going to hop
sure,
in
yeah.
for a quick sec, because it just pinged something for me because of what you were sharing before. That's sort of a very powerful soul mirror of
Yes,
the unhealed masculine inside of those divine feminine.
yes,
That,
yes, yes.
because I think we've all been there, where wishes fulfilled, because this is a year of wish fulfillment. We
Mhm.
also have to prime the wheel, so to speak,
Exactly.
to be ready to receive in our true divine feminine, sacred feminine, and to really trust, and to, so there it's, when that happens, rather than shutting down the heart center, it's a sacred invitation, it feels like, from what you're sharing,
Mhm.
to to remember it's not about that other person,
Yes.
it's about what wants to be released in us because it's incongruent with the wishes fulfilled.
Exactly. I'm so glad that you brought that up because, I joke about it, calling it the twin flame crazy go round. But at the end of the day, it was a powerful mirror. It was an initiation for
Mhm.
many divine feminine and even divine masculine, where we were seeing in the other person the condition of our own opposite polarity. And I did find when I was sort of intuiting many situations that I saw that. For the most part, in many of these situations, there was a block within the feminine energy in the man or the masculine, and vice versa on the flip side for the feminine. And they were just pinging the distortions back and forth, playing table tennis with them.
I love your analogies. They're so fun. Mhm.
Yeah, and so this is where we're coming out of that imbalanced energy in the lunar south node to start moving up into the Aries energy, where we find that restart coming in through the Aries energy. Again, this is where I start going back into fire, and how this, for many of us, this is how we're getting completely off the south node in any way we've been operating from that, whether it's distortions in the Libra south node or in our personal, when you map your own natal chart, we all have a south node energy somewhere, really coming out of those, because what I've seen is that we're coming out of our personalized south node and the planetary south node as well, going up into that new beginning. And so, as we move through this portal going into this wood dragon energy, where we're going to start, for many of us, connecting into our multidimensionality, and with this is ancient codes activating, things that we've come in with, for those who resonate as being star seeds and earth angels, that are meant to start bringing in and anchoring the new earth infrastructure in whatever ways we're called to do that. And and then we have the shade that many of us are going to provide as shining out our life, our love energy, for people to take refuge in as the world starts crumbling down here. And then we have those who are just, there to anchor and be rooted, the grid workers, those who are holding that divine love, or, for many of us, all of us, really, there's shades of all of that being asked of us and required of us as we move into deeper into this shift of ages that is occurring for us at this time. And so, um, I was really drawn to work today with just kind of bringing in an activation to really heal and purify that. And the aqua frequency is that of the Holy Mother Ark. It's where you get those blue waters of the Caribbean that are so nourishing. And it's one thing, the divine was showing me, this is one of the reasons why this is one of the most treasured destinations on our planet, because of the purity of those waters that come from the aqua heart of Sophia, or the Holy Mother. Some people call her Mary, or whatever term you use, that those nourishing waters to really help to heal and purify and cleanse on that level. So yeah, I mean, these were pretty much the downloads that came in for me, just kind of piggybacking on what we talked about last time.
They're
Yeah.
so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing all of those. And what really came through as I was listening to you share is that sense that, and I'm so glad you brought up that point, in many different ways, that just sort of highlighting it, because I think it's so important for everyone. And I know I take it into my heart and soul too, as you were sharing,
Mhm.
that as earth angels and star seeds, and however we identify coming here, I love this being shelter for people in the storm as the earth is crumbling.
Mhm.
And this is where that rod and staff, that warrior energy, that ability to be present first to ourselves, to
Mhm.
recognize the mirroring so that we don't get distracted by that dance.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we're able to stand like the tree,
Mhm.
strong and anchored and rooted, and be able to remember, because as we clear out those lower three chakras, as you were talking about, then we can receive the downloads. Like, look at the powerful downloads you just received, and when we're in that tilt-a-whirl, as I like to call it,
Yeah.
going back and forth, it's not fun and exciting after a while. It's just downright crazy making, as you said, the crazy
Yeah.
go round. I love that. So it's really like, are we sourcing our, I always sort of see it this way? Are we sourcing our, our life, our energy, our sense of like, where are we most oriented? Are we most oriented? I'm combining words now. Most oriented horizontally or vertically, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
And when we're vertical, we can be that staff. And when we're horizontal, we're getting yanked around and pulled off center and having to come back to center. It's not that we can't come back to center, we can, but it takes a lot more energy, right?
Right, right. And that's the whole idea of the root, is just not being blown to and fro and this way and that, but you're aligned, you're under that star, you're drinking in, let's just say, well, the sun is a star, you're drinking in that sunlight as plants do, as trees do. And it's causing growth, and you're not getting pulled and swayed back and forth. And, you know, one thing that I do find too, just looking back on just what I was seeing and shown in the fields and what I saw in the fields, working with so many people who were, wanting to be on the twin flame journey, is that there is also that element of limerence that was driving a lot of this as well. That, coming in from those childhood wounds where you have to make this huge story around something that's not really love, because that's what you're used to, is things not being really loved and having to crap fit to a situation and say, okay, this is great, this is whatever way that you come down from your true worth to kind of make something work, because that's what's running. And this is where there was a lot of this outward focus, and for these new relationships coming in, especially as we have the star energy, and a lot of the Schumann resonance and the solar flares have been off the charts. That's why when you're stumbling on your words, I'm like, this has been me all weekend. It's a lot going on right now. It's just, when I came in, I was like, okay, I'm brain fried. I hope I can do this. I can do this.
Well, I want you to finish what you're saying, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, because I sense that, but I'm curious if there's more that you want to add about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I forgot where I was.
Oh, you were talking about just the limerence and
Yes, yes. And so with these new Earth relationships that are coming online this year, it is really about two people who are not looking at each other to kind of fulfill something from a wounded space or from a void or from a hole, but it is both parties just kind of looking at that star wherever the masculine is with this. Because one thing I did see is that there would be a lot of women who are maybe a little bit more high level or activated, that might be with men who are just now awakening. Not that they're going to source from you and try to pull it from you and not get it themselves, but just the wisdom and that nourishing Sophianic essence really helping to activate them. But it is two parties looking at their star alongside each other, not you're completing me in some way, or even the whole concept of being the other half of the soul, I think can set you up in many ways for feeling like, if I don't have this person, I'm missing out in some major way, which is really disempowering, at least in my opinion.
That's so beautiful. I love that, standing and each as a sovereign being looking up at the stars, and that
Yes.
that in that paradox and the sacred union at the same time, because
Mhm.
there's that wholeness. We're mirroring that wholeness back to each other.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
And I'm seeing this in the fields as not just being true for union in terms of the kingdom spouse, the kingdom marriage kind of thing, but even with us connecting on deeper levels with soul families, extensions of our monad. One download that I was getting also about the universal eight energy in the star was that it wasn't just star in terms of our star, but what they were showing me is constellations, the coming together of these stars that belong to these certain soul groups or extensions that were also meeting to, for various reasons, reason, season, lifetime, whatever it is, to help each other to come together and anchor and ground what is being called forth in the collective at this time. So for those groups too, it is really about healing at the level where there's been a lot of betrayal in relationships. There's a lot of healing right now at this time around the more fallen feminine templates as well, that manifest as jealousy and competition among women, and the catty stuff that's kept a lot of really potentially powerful alliances from happening. And I know I've had it happen to me in my work and in different spaces. So it is something that's healing both, especially within the heart, the way that that's closed down the heart to being able to open in many ways. And as we open up the heart, that fiery heart energy, we're also, it's almost like a triune healing that's happening at the level of the sacral, where that fire brings in the enthusiasm, the motivation, the creative energy, the fiery energy within there, and the solar plexus and the heart, bringing those back online so that we can have that lifeline or that ladder to climb out of the more heavier energies, because the sacral is also the pain body, to start to purge those out and create those clearings and that pathway clearing to come up into the heart energy, where we can really start to radiate out our soul blueprint, because the heart portal connects into the astral realm. It's the first of the levels for the soul energy to kind of ground in the body. So when we start to come into our heart energy, we're starting to connect into that bridge into our higher states of our mentor mind, where these downloads can come in and manifest as whatever's joyful in the heart, and just generating more of that and opening up to receive more of that, that's kind of fueling us. And it's all part of a system that's coming online for us now. And it really does require, at least based on what I was being shown, is just clearing that energy of the heart. And there's also a sacral component to it as well, because when there's too much pain body energy, it kind of disconnects from, there's like that line of energy, that crystal spiral that goes up, that gets cut off at the level of the mental body, that prevents that energy from really coming online. And again, this goes back to the healing energy within the wood dragon template, where, the air is needed to fuel the fire, but, air can go both ways. It can blow the fire out, or it can ignite it to make it burn higher. And this comes in with our thought energy. That's the mental body at the solar plexus. So it's being able to feed that fire with our positive thoughts, with the thoughts that are aligned with, our Christ mind, rather than moving into these spaces of these lower thoughts, the lower mind, that will blow the fire out, and keep it from igniting. So there's so much healing and releasing happening there. I know myself, I've been experiencing a lot of like gastric stuff, like upper gastric stuff, the last couple of weeks, a lot of that kind of thing coming online, because there is a lot of healing happening in that space and in those spheres, to kind of prepare for however this manifests for you specifically. So,
And you just, I wanted to ask you too, because over the past several years, or even longer, but especially it's been intensified. Would you say that there is sort of something going on that's it's like almost, I guess I'm more fluffy bunny. I don't like to use the words warfare, but I'm going to
yeah,
say it because it's, frequency warfare, like looking
yeah.
for, and so what the point you mentioned, because I can relate to that too, about really being vigilant in
Mhm,
a loving, compassionate way with ourselves about our thoughts.
mhm,
Uh, really, I mean, I know in my own practice, as I was naive earlier on my spiritual journey. As I was awakening, I thought, oh, those thoughts just won't be there anymore because I'll have ascended past them. But they're
mhm.
there. It's just I have a different relationship to them. I treat them like a
Yeah,
tabloid in the grocery store. I don't
yeah,
have to look at it.
love
I don't
that.
have to read it.
Yeah,
And so it's not that I'm getting rid of any of that, because it comes with a human jumpsuit, right?
it does. Yeah,
It's part of the
yeah,
equipment. It's just whether or not it's like Netflix in a sense. Like, you don't have to watch everything on
yeah.
Netflix.
Just swipe left, right? Swipe right. Exactly, exactly. And I love how you worded that. And that's kind of the detachment that needs to come in, is understanding they're just things. It's only when we attach our emotional energy to it that we start to create the timeline signature that keeps us looping and stuff. I do find for the most part that the mental body, or the air energy, is sort of masculine, and the feminine is more, coming in through the emotion. Well, it is coming in through the emotion. So when you get those two creation codes, where you have the negative feelings attached to the negative thought, that's when you start spinning out this stuff, for lack of better term.
I can so see that. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm,
gosh, I'm sure a lot of people listening can relate to that, right? It
mhm.
really is. And actually, um, just something that pinged when you were talking to the infinity symbol itself, there's that still point in the middle, and then there's the loop
Yes.
on either side and the loop on the other side.
Mhm.
And it needs to flow from one side to the other. But if it gets stuck in the
Yes.
middle, It's about stillness in the middle, about at oneness,
Mhm.
feeding the at oneness. Or if we're dealing with the lower three chakras and the unhealed stuff, we're getting
Mhm.
stuck in the middle and we're
Mhm.
getting pulled onto either side. But if it's
Yeah.
flowing, then it's that harmonious, undulating, creative flow that we talk about
Mhm.
often
Mhm.
in spiritual circles. So
Yes, yes,
it's
yes.
interesting how that simple symbol can have two different interpretations, reflect two different experiences, depending
Right.
on how we perceive it, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I love the way that you articulated that, and it really is. It's just like a current. It's getting jammed at some end, and it's keeping the thing from working, and just having to undo the kinks, if you will, or splice things together, whatever needs to happen, for that to start going again. So yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I love the word you just used. And I've got just this coming from spirit through to you. What do you think moving forward? They're just guiding me to ask you this question. What do you think the currency of 2024 is going to be? Because oftentimes, in our matrix thinking, we think of currency as, dinero, money. We're like,
Mhm.
okay, currency exchange,
Mhm.
but I just they're guiding me because I'm sensing there's something there around currency, because that word really pinged for me when you shared it.
Mhm. Mhm. Can you rephrase the question? I'm not sure I'm really understanding.
Well, it's just is in terms of currency,
Mhm.
is there a different kind of currency that is going to be emerging on the earth outside of money, in terms of how we
I see.
understand that term currency, because it's so often applied to the monetary world.
Right,
And
right.
yet we know it's also electricity and we're electrical beings.
Mhm.
It but I don't know where that question's coming from. I'm just trusting the process here. I'm just flowing with it.
Yeah, and it's getting my wheels going. Well, I'm glad that you asked that because I'm a Taurus first and foremost, so currency is kind of in the back of my mind somewhere. Are you? So, to be really honest, I don't have an answer. I just know that the way that the monetary system is here on this planet, as far as many, enlightened beings, higher beings that exist in different ascended realms, this is the only planet that has this system. And it has this system because it does benefit, those who are in power, who are, trying to stay in power. So they kind of created it. I do feel that one of the things that we are going to be building, even though we're still all dependent on the system, is creating this infrastructure that can exist outside of this, or outside of what might require for us to compromise in some way, because there's a lot of things happening on the planet right now that are trying to set up this other energy here that we're actually bifurcating away from. But for many of us, we're still straddling two fences. We have our 9 to 5, we have this, we have that. It's really hard to say. I do identify with being a star seed, but I don't remember what we did up there. And so, you know, I really do believe that it could very well be, going back to, the original template of bartering and exchange and this type of thing. But it's really hard to say. Um, I think at the end of the day, when we're talking about currency, what that means to me, even going into the 3D money system, it is about the flow. It's all about being within the flow, that flow coming in as energy, manifesting as whatever it is. And I really do feel that, it could very well be somebody watching here who's going to be part of whoever's planning that new system as part of the new earth energy on how that actually plays out. But, I believe at the end of the day, even though we have to kind of live by the 3D rules as far as mammon and rendering unto Caesar what is his, etc., that at the end of the day, I think if we really all understand that it is energy, and it is energy, at least in my personal feeling, and how I am about this, is that there is a system that is controlling how it flows, who it flows to, and why, so that they can bring the energy or harvest the energy to fund and do whatever they're doing over here with it. But I feel that as far as the current financial situation, I feel like as long as we still have certain things in place, certain energies empower certain people running the show, we're probably going to have to continue to work with, manifesting and straddling those two fences. But, I do feel very strongly that it's still going to be at least somewhat of a thing as long as we still have this old system. It is in the process of crumbling. We can clearly see that just by turning on the news, which I'm hoping you're not watching too much because it's getting crazy out there. We want to keep our vibration high, but, at the same time, not be ignorant about what's happening around us either. But I think that as that system collapses out, what is aligned with the angelic human, the angelic template that we're returning to, will be revealed as well, even whatever that looks like. So I mean, that's kind of how I feel about that.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and I hope I didn't take us too far off of our topic today.
Yeah, no.
It was just something that
well, I think it's really relevant because when we're talking about, at least in this time space continuum, I find that there is a connection between love, even self-love and self-worth, and your finances, and operating authentically. And it is that old adage that when you do what you love, coming from the heart, that money is just drawn to you. And I found that to be very true. So while we're still navigating that system, that still very much applies, that it is sort of like that radiating, that heart resonance, that heart magnetism that comes from living in your authentic energy. That's your soul energy anchored from the heart, being expressed through the throat portal, being seen in your vision, that magnetizes and puts us in that magnetic state of attracting abundance, so that we can do whatever with it, whether it's being benevolent and helping to fund and sponsor certain projects, or whether even to just have a place, your own home that's surrounded by things that bring you joy. I mean, that's important to the divine as well. So it can go in all directions. So I mean, that's kind of my feeling, that it is kind of love and money. We have Venus ruling Libra relationships, also ruling Taurus, the boss babe. So, it's very relevant,
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, yeah, it's all oneness at the end, right?
It is.
It's interesting, it's all here for us for learning, right? For soul
It
growth.
is.
So definitely.
Absolutely. To
Well,
help us remember, activate us, awaken us, and especially for those of us who are on the path and have been for a while, to just really inspire us to really get in place and to align with what that is, however we're meant to make a difference. And I find that as you do that, you'll find your soul energy. I mean, there's really no healing like sometimes just serving. And I know for me, even when things weren't coming together for me, when I really stepped forward and what I was really feeling at the time was part of my mission, and of course that always evolves over time too, is that things just started to change, or things just started to shift without me focusing so much attention and energy on it. And I think that goes back to what you were saying, is just being rooted and grounded in your codes and in your truth, and not get swayed all over the place. And things just kind of, they can just resolve on their own to a large extent.
definitely. Oh, well, I've enjoyed this conversation so much.
Me too. I want to keep coming back now.
As much as you want. It's great having you on the show. Well, is there anything special that you would like us to do to prepare for the Aqua Crystal Heart Reset? Or is there anything that we can be reflecting on, or just, I don't know, share the deets with me, please.
Sure. So I'm going to be working with the Aqua Ray, and certainly working with also the dragon lineages. I felt strong dragon energy, just, helping me to prepare for the call. And so basically what we're doing here is we're going to be utilizing this to just start to clear and purify out of the heart chakra any remnants of, some of these distortions I talked about, doubt, discouragement, etc., from the heart, wherever they're closing down and blocking down the heart. I am feeling also too that there may be the necessity to kind of cleanse out through the pain body as well, which, I mean, we're still in the shadow of the new moon too. So it's almost like giving the emotional body a little bit of a reset, because I do find that with the pain body and the heart, that they're very much connected, as far as whatever is being stored there is also shutting down the heart. So I feel like I'm going to be in the sacral as well. Just to clear out and start to gently, start to open us up for, our union timelines, our union templates, whether that's union with somebody else as part of the spiritual leadership, like I described, or whether that's just bringing that energy online for you within yourself. Your higher self will direct it and allocate it where it needs to go. So that's pretty much it. Although I say that, but then once I'm in the fields, they're like, okay, now go here and do this. So we'll see.
Well, this is such a wonderful gift that you're sharing with all of us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the spotlight while you're leading this.
Okay.
I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to turn my little video off to the side here to give you to offer you the honor of the floor as you lead us through this wonderful, sacred soul gift. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
I'm going to slide over here now.
All right. So when we go ahead and close our eyes, we're going to get comfortable. Spine straight, feet flat on the floor if you can. You can also lay down if you're listening to this on headphones, laying in bed, relaxing, whatever. Just make sure that you're comfortable and relaxed. And I'm just going to guide everyone through a quick grounding protocol. And we're going to start that by breathing into the body and exhaling out into the body. And as we do this, at least at the time of this recording, we're still in the window for the new moon in Aquarius. So let's just draw in from the energies that are present. We have this new moon energy. So what's coming online for us is the potential to activate just a new emotional body resonance. We're talking about Aquarian energy. So this is where we are being called to come outside of the box, to live outside of the box. And for many of us, the box is mental prisons coming in through the mental body. So we're just going to start to set the intention now that we're just going to start to bring that energy in, to start creating anew, to reset at the mental and emotional body level, so that we may start to open up into our true timelines for union, including allowing all of those hidden aspects contained within our shadow energy to be seen, to be cleared, to come up to the surface for transmutation, transformation. We're moving into that dragon energy. So let's just be open and receptive here, connecting to our higher selves and setting an intention. I know I just shared a lot, but there may be an additional intention that comes in for many of you through this activation and through this reset that we're experiencing through the emotional body and our personal magnetism. So just take a moment to just set that. And just breathe that into the body, exhale out into the body. And now we're going to start to sink our awareness into the body, imagining that there's a tube of light that runs down the length of the spine. We're going to follow that tube of light down with our inner vision out through the perineum area, taking it through the many layers of your house or apartment building or wherever you're listening to this, down into the earth as we pass now through the layers of the earth, those layers of dirt and rock and crystal and magma and water, just going through all of those layers, connecting into the inner sun gate, which is a luminous sort of crystalline core at the center of the earth. This is the cosmic mother's consciousness field held within the physical body of the earth. And we're just going to plug our tube of light in there, just like we're plugging into a USB port. And just feel into that connection, connected into the heart of the Divine Mother, the inner sun gate. And then on our next inhale, we're going to pull that energy up the tube of light, just like a straw, where it's going to start to connect in at the Earth Star chakra, which is about a foot below your feet. And this is your grounding platform for your light body. So we're just holding that imagery of roots when we talked about the tree, really grounding ourselves into our light body platform, creating those strong roots. I am feeling for many of you, you can just breathe into, really connecting into your Earth Star chakra, breathing into it and out into it throughout the day. I'm feeling for a couple of you that will find this call, I feel that there is some trouble with dissociation, maybe from some past traumas that you're still integrating, some mind-body split that keeps you outside of your body. Just breathing in and out into your Earth Star chakra several times a day, just placing your awareness on it. Take a deep breath in, exhaling out into it will keep you in your body, and that will be really empowering for you. I'm feeling for somebody here. And as we bring that crystalline platinum light up into the Earth Star, it's going to start to fill the Earth Star, just like the Earth Star is like a sponge, just filling up with this energy until it pops open into the shape of a crystalline lotus flower. That flower is going to spin counterclockwise, and as it does, it's going to throw off these crystalline ribbons of light that are going to start to merge, rising up the length of your light body, just like a pillar, to about 3 feet above your head. This is your personalized kind of safe space here, your personal pillar of energy. I always like to erect these in group calls or when I'm doing group transmissions, just so our energy doesn't start to bleed into each other. And just so if somebody listening has stuff around them, it doesn't invade anybody's space, because I'm a real stickler on personal energetic sovereignty and creating those boundaries. So we have that sacred space we're all in. And I'd like you to just take a moment to connect to your heart, to your heart's wisdom, to your heart's intelligence. Well, let's just take a moment to connect into our truth, because that is also the energy of Aquarius, is connecting into our soul's truth and allowing that to be seen and expressed for the good of the whole and without worrying about what other people are thinking, which is why it's connected to being a rebel. It just wants to do its own thing. So as we connect into that solar energy, let's just drop into our heart and feel into what distortions are still within that keep our hearts closed down to not just loving and being loved, but also being seen as we truly are, being seen and heard. How does our heart feel when we think about the prospect of somebody coming in with a heart full of devotion, seeing us just as we are when we're messy, all the things we still have to heal, and my credit's so bad, and this and that, and all the things that I think make me unworthy of love? How does my heart feel with somebody coming in, looking past that with unconditional love brought in from the divine, because this person is handpicked by the divine? How does that feel to the heart? Does your heart expand at that, or does it constrict with any programming that's lingering around unworthiness, or you don't deserve this, or there's something wrong with you, or that inner parent that is still trying to parent your inner child to be perfect, that you'll be lovable when you're perfect? What are you feeling there? How are you feeling about, connecting back into a group of women or a community? I feel that many of you have been burned in spiritual communities and have kind of, said, I'm just going to do me now, and I'm just, in my hermit space, and this and that and the other. But I feel like for some of you here, this is sort of disguising betrayal and the hurt of betrayal, and you trying to protect yourself from betrayal. So when you feel into that wound, what feels like it's closing down your heart from love, from pulling in the energy of that star? If anything, for some of you, it may not be anything. You're feeling open and excited. So that's awesome. But let's just take a moment to connect to the truth within our hearts. And as we do, I'm seeing 2 dragons coming in and approaching. These are beautiful chrysid dragons that are coming in from the higher dimensional realms. I'm seeing one that is gold, and I'm seeing another that is aqua blue. And the gold dragon now is just going to come and just feel the love and energy and power emanating from this dragon as it comes in. It's holding so much Christ energy, so much of that golden purifying frequency. And this dragon is going to start to blow or bring in this gold flame that is going to start to move through your heart chakra. And as it does, it's touching all of those hidden places and spaces, that heart armor, the house that discouragement built, the house that disillusionment built, that doubt built. All of those places where, you were waiting for the twin flame and on all the tarot readings, and they said this and they said that, but he just walked off. All of those places where you just doubt the whole thing, doubt yourself. You might be gaslighting yourself about what happened, blaming yourself. Maybe you're just discouraged because you've been trying so hard and nothing's shifting, nothing's changing. And the energy of discouragement has taken up residence in your heart chakra. Maybe it's defeat where you tried so hard. I'm hearing that song by Linkin Park. You tried so hard, you came so far, and in the end, it didn't even matter. Just shutting down your heart. I feel some of you, there's somebody here whose life, that's kind of been your life, the theme song for your life. And I feel a very powerful message coming in for you that God wants you to know that you don't have to repeat the past anymore. That's gone. That was back there for you to learn from. That was back there for you to activate. There's a remnant, a mental prison I'm seeing in somebody here. You'll know that if this is you, where there was so much defeat, so much that didn't happen way back there because it wasn't online in your field for it to happen, because you were still resonating with all of these patterns. And now you're free from that prison, but you're still running on the template. You're still thinking it's there. You don't know that the chain is gone. The divine wants you to let that go, to put that down. You can even put it in the fire. Anything that may be coming up for you in terms of things that are coming up, because I feel what's coming in for a lot of people are you going back, maybe you even getting flashes from your higher self of different spaces and places where you've been discouraged and defeated and walked in betrayal or doubt. What's activated and built up this house of doubt in your heart. Just start grabbing that stuff, even start reaching into the heart chakra and just imagine you're throwing it into that golden fire and feel into the heart chakra open and purify, enabling you to connect into those higher frequency sets of joy. Now, this golden flame is also going to start to move through the sacral chakra. This is the creative womb space. This is that creative fire. I'm feeling a lot of almost spiritual frigidity, if you don't mind me using that term, that's being healed here, because what I am seeing here is that there's, for some people here, there's such a heavy residual within the pain body. And, the second chakra, the sacral, the emotional body, we talk about that having to do with water, but we also remember that water puts out fire. And what I'm seeing here is for some of you that there is such a heavy energy that comes from some of these spaces where these beliefs were planted in here, where there's such a feeling of unworthiness, or there's such a feeling of, just shame and guilt, especially, that have been snuffing out the fire. They've been snuffing out not just your heart light, but they've been snuffing out the desire flame that generates from the sacral chakra. And we have to understand that desire is always the seed of a timeline, a potential timeline. That's why desire is generated, that motivation and enthusiasm from the womb space, because it is there that we gestate and grow the energy, the impetus to start to create and anchor these timeline sets. So it's the desire is the seed of a creation. And I'm feeling there are some of you that are walking around just kind of numb to that. And maybe there was once a passion for something. There was once a desire to build something, but because of the despair and all of these other energies that were being snuffed out by this hidden toxic shame and guilt and unworthiness, that have been kind of keeping that snuffed out and keeping you kind of locked down in this labyrinth of never really knowing what to do or where to go or how to, manifest this or how to bring this online. This golden energy is purifying that through the sacral chakra. And for many of you, this is creating openings within the mental body as far as healing any complementary thought energy as well. It's bringing in some sacred toning and light language. What I'm seeing here for many of you is the mending of a 2D, 4D split where there was just this disconnect between your second chakra and your fourth that is being healed. And from this is going to start igniting or reigniting what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what they're calling them reclamation angels. It's almost like they're bringing back to you these lost dreams and visions and puzzle pieces and things that you thought were out of reach. They're bringing them back in now to start rekindling that fire, because you were in alignment. Feel someone needs to hear this. You were absolutely in alignment. However, there was all of this other stuff that was going on that needed to that needed to surface, that needed to transform. And what these energies are doing is they're bringing them up to the surface so that they can start being transmuted out. So if you do find yourself maybe dreaming about some old situations or going back into your mind or feeling like maybe some heavy energy coming in, I do encourage you to take Polly's advice and just see it as that National Enquirer when you're checking out and you're just going to pass by it. It's a thing. I'm not going to engage with it because this is coming up because it's being transmuted out. And what I'm seeing here is by the equinox next month, there's going to be such a profound shift. It's almost like what I'm seeing here is you showing up for all of your good on time as that fire energy as we go into Aries, into the new astrological year next month, that this clearing is going to really place you and align you, and you're going to hit the ground running is what they're showing me. Okay, let's take a deep breath here. And let's just imagine now that the gold dragon is stepping back and this aqua dragon is coming in. And it's not blowing fire, but what it is doing is it is placing within your heart a aquamarine diamond. So this is a diamond of just, pure aquamarine light. That diamond is going to start to spin and start to throw off an aquamarine frequency. It's going to start to attune your energy with the creation codes of your higher timeline sets and really bring in the renewal. And if you think about Caribbean waters or waters near the equator, not so much in New England, but you see that turquoise blue frequency, soothing, healing. It's like a healing balm that is coming in to bring in that energetic reset. I'm seeing a lot of this for many of you also flowing through the sacral chakra as well. Some of you not so much, because when I look into the fields here, I see a lot of you really on point with your inner work. So this is more of bringing in that heart chakra reset. And just breathe into that aqua heart that aligns with your creation codes, the power of creation within you, bringing in a new heart intelligence and heart resonance that allows you to tap into the birthright of joy. Joy is who we are at our most spiritual level, at our innermost level, and reclaiming your ability to walk in that, to embody that. I feel profound inner child healing happening for many of you, where, again, I keep going back to an inner parent. And that you've kind of learned how to parent yourself by constantly criticizing and downplaying and invalidating every time that desire of joy comes in. And there's a clearing happening around that, where it's almost like the Holy Mother is coming in to override that. Or if it was a father figure, the Holy Father coming in to start to override that so that you can expand into that joy that is that star energy that helps you navigate your timelines. So let's just take a moment to breathe into that, and I'll go silent for just a moment and just be present with whatever comes in and up for you. And then we're going to just take a moment to thank the Dragon Elders, to thank our spiritual teams, Holy Mother, Holy Father, for this healing, for this transmission, for these codes. And then we're going to take a nice deep inhale into the body and exhale into the Earth Star as we anchor, lock, and seal on our highest timeline. And so it is.
That was wonderful, Sonja. Thank you so much.
My
Wow.
pleasure.
Very powerful. I felt that, and powerful activation. What a gift for everyone listening, live and on the replay. And it's just wow, wowie, wowie, wowie is what I want to say. Your work is powerful, and it's been such a pleasure and such a gift to have you on the show. As always, I'm so happy you're back for a second time, and I'd love to have you
Thank
back
you.
again.
Sure.
And of course, if people want to reach out to you, if you just want to let them know, again, I mentioned it at the beginning, but if there are any other ways that they can reach out to you or anything you want to share about anything that's coming up, I'm going to
Uh,
give you
yes, I actually do have a couple of events. I do have a free one coming up this Saturday for if you resonate with being an earth angel. It is a teaching on connecting to your celestial origins and the gift set. You can find out how to sign up for that over at my website at earthangelacademy144.org, or you can email me either at Sonja at Sophia Returns or help at earthangelacademy144.org. I'm still transitioning into my new work, so I'm straddling two fences with my website. But either place there, you can reach out to me.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And, um, I can't say enough good things about the work you do. I know I've used a lot of your audios for years,
Mhm,
and I've experienced profound shifts with them.
mhm.
And it's just there, it's your energy, it's your alignment, it's you're just such an incredible, you have so much wisdom and so much knowledge to impart, and you also have this wonderful way of holding presence for other people to unlock their own codes for themselves. So
Thank you, Polly. I appreciate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really powerful work. Such a blessing. And I want to just send you a big energetic cosmic hug right now. Hug.
I receive it. Hugs. Yeah.
And I'm just going to take a peek over here and just see, we, you know, well, when we have you back on the show again, I'm going to really encourage people to watch live, because, the show is still building and everything like that. And
Mhm.
because maybe we have to advertise one as a Q&A or something like that, because
Mhm.
down the road, because really the what you have to share is profound. And I know I've studied with you for a number of years. And so I just, this is an exciting year ahead, and I encourage all of our listeners to really honor your own inner awakening journey and path, and
Mhm.
to care as much for yourself as you care for the world while you're birthing your dreams. Everything you spoke to today, Sonja, about really, anchoring into the heart energies, really doing the inner work, and acknowledging, and releasing any of those parts of us that might be getting in the way of really anchoring into our hearts is the work right now, is the currency.
Yes,
Yeah, there
yes,
you go.
absolutely.
There, that's the cherry on top. That feels complete now. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, I thank you so much again. And with with that, everyone, I invite you to watch more upcoming shows. Catch part one if you missed part one when Sonja and I were on a couple of weeks ago, and at Oneness Talk Radio, or over at Multidimensional Muse. And with that, we're going to start to close, and I'm going to wish everyone infinite creative blessings and infinite creative abundance. Keep caring for yourself, keep honoring yourself, and keep trusting yourself, because your presence matters, and you have a lot of light to share in this world. And so here we go.
Thank you.